You're listening to Chugging Bleach, the only podcast where the bounce count.
Welcome to Chugging Bleach, the anime show where we watch through Bleach and we're finally out of filler and non-canon stuff.
Oh my god.
I'm your host, Bob Video Games, and with me, as usual, Anime Danime.
To get you back up to speed, we will use a podcast that was recorded on a blue snowball microphone.
Chris Wolfhart.
I'm already half recap.
And of course, Dr. Aggro.
Have you ever been so back that it's just over?
This time we covered episodes 190 to 194. And we are finally out of the Shusuke Yamagai arc, and we didn't watch a movie.
Fuck that guy. Fuck Shusuke Yamagai.
Yeah, luckily the timeline immediately erased him.
What about Third Sea Kabune? Is he still fine?
Oh, no,
He's dead.
Don't say his name.
He's actually, Third Seat Kabune is actually extra dead.
He just light him on fire.
Yeah, and he died and then his timeline got deleted.
I locked eyes on Xyloporo and went, oh, thank God, you're back.
Oh, that's rough. Oh, at least your glasses is the right size, unlike that Kibune guy. But before we get into the episodes, I need to know about listening to the show early and how you work with that on Patreon to get an early access. Can you tell me about it, Chris?
You don't know how to watch your own show early? What the fuck?
I don't. Look, I've never been to this Patreon website.
Well, if you'd like to listen to Chugging Bleach early, you can go to our Patreon at patreon.com/gbpodcast. For as little as $5 a month, you get access to many benefits, such as early access to this show. In fact, if you're listening on YouTube, there's probably another episode waiting for you on the Patreon. Early access to our other anime review podcast, Pokemon Go to the Movies. Bits and bobs from other podcasts we do, an entire movie called Isolation 119, and you help fund a monthly show. That's patreon.com/gbpodcast.
Thank you, Chris. And since we're back to regular, real Bleach content, I'm sure nothing went wrong. Right, Chris?
Well, the interesting thing here is Chris only has to recap half as many episodes as he did prior time on Chugging Bleach. It's only 5 episodes.
That's true.
And really only half of that, because 2 of them are recaps.
I know!
Yeah.
They use recap footage from a 4x3 episode and then just put different YouTube banners on the side each time.
There's so much. I was convinced in the first one that it was just going to be a clip episode, that we wouldn't have new content. Because it's half the episode.
It is literally half the episode. Bet that made writing notes easy, huh, Chris?
Right?
Sure. Anyway, episode 190. The first half of this episode is a recap. The entire first half is that. Okay, that's it. It's all shit. It's the end of the Grimmjow fight.
I was thinking while watching this, I was trying to remember when I first watched it back in whenever it aired on Japanese television and I downloaded it.
Mm-hmm.
I might have just stopped watching, just turned the episode off. And then the next week, when another episode was out, found out, oh, there was new stuff in this episode. So I had to go back another week to watch it.
Classic.
That makes sense. Anyway, Ichigo goes to talk to Orihime after defeating Grimmjow. He picks her up caveman style over the shoulder and she gets all flustered. There's no time. And he says, well, there's no time to try and find any stairs, so I'll just carry you. And she's like, oh, Ichigo, you don't need to carry me. I'm so heavy. And Ichigo says, don't worry, you look heavier than you actually are. And then Nell immediately appears and punches him in the dick. And then she says, literal paraphrasing, but also a quote, even if Orihime's a hippo, Ichigo needs to tell her she's light as air. And she goes on and on. Orihime says, Nell, you're actually just making me feel worse. Okay, you're...
Come on.
Then they jump down the big broken tower, and Ichigo's like, I have to go help Chad and Ruki. And I'm like, are you going to fucking leave them here? And he's like, no, I'm not actually going to do that. I don't know why I said it that way. What a weird scene. Anyway, Grimmjow gets back up. He doesn't seem like much of a threat since Ichigo literally beat him so hard his fursuit turned off and he turned back into normal Grimmjow. Then he starts coping, and then Ichigo puts his hand on his shoulder and says, you can still turn away from radicalization. There's still time. You don't have to be a violent meathead. Then he tries to be a violent meathead, but Noitora poleaxes him and he kind of just falls over. Then Noitora tries to finish Grimjaw off and Ichigo intercedes to protect him, and Noitora snarls and knocks Ichigo away and berates Grimjaw for being protected and demands Ichigo's name and then tries to kill him the second he gets it. Ichigo then gets overpowered in a shot that's really fucking funny. It just looks real bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, surprisingly, a lot of the stuff in this set of episodes still doesn't look good, even though we're out of filler.
Well, they're saving the money for all the fights that will happen shortly from now. Orihime moves to try and help, but Noitora's little subordinate, Tesla, takes her prisoner. Ichigo gets mad and Noitora berates him for being one of those heroes who thinks he can win as long as his girlfriend is safe and then boasts about being a spot at number 5 and his number's on his tongue. He then tries to Sero Ichigo and we cut back to Renji, Ishida, and the comedy duo running from Sae Sapporo, and Ishida's like, listen, our goal was never to defeat these guys, it was just to get Orihime and leave. So we should focus on that and not fight the guy who's going to beat our ass. Turns out, Sae Sapporo can control the layout of his palace, so all their running just led them right back to him.
Womp womp.
And Sae Sapporo asks if they're ready for Act 2. Illustrated Guide to Soul Reapers. Golden!
So back.
Hanataro rushes into Kone's studio and says their time slot is being moved because the filler arc tanked the ratings so much. Kone doesn't care because he hasn't been in the show in forever. He doesn't even know the next time he'll appear. And this is like, Hanataro probably doesn't know when he'll appear either. Then Hanataro inner monologues that he'll be getting a lot of screen time soon while holding the script for episode 197. And I don't know if that means he'll actually show up in that episode or if he will be in the illustrated guide to Soul Reapers of that episode.
No, this is it. This is Hanataro's gonna run wild.
Hanataro's wild ride.
Rise up from the sewers.
Anyway, episode 191. Dodon Chaka throws a fit because they went in a circle. Pesce throws a fit because he can't see and kicks Dodon Chaka out of the way and then screams he didn't want to see because it's just Sae Sapporo. Sae Sapporo says, the palace is like my own body and it does whatever I tell it to. We then get an extended flashback recapping the entire Sae Sapporo fight up to this point.
Yes. That last episode ended and I was like, oh, cool. We're not doing that thing I joked about immediately of one episode will be recapping the Ichigo part and the next will be, and then that happened. They start recapping so much of the Sae Sapporo fight, and I'm like, why?
I still enjoy Chris's Sae Sapporo just being a Moonanite.
That's how he sounds, to be perfectly fair.
Yes, I'm not saying it's inaccurate.
He fucking explains how he did it. Oh, I can move the corridors around. He then says it might feel like a bad joke to make them run around so long to get to the same place, but he thinks forcing him to try is actually worse of a joke. It's like, how dare you make me try? You're two comedy characters, Renji, and one actual competent person. Why am I having to try for this? He does his resurrection, Sup la Lujuriosa.
Sure.
I don't know what's up with you.
And then does the sword swallowing bit and then inflates big and round.
And moans a bit too loudly.
Yeah.
He then turns into like a freaky tentacle angel butterfly thing with like a sea anemone for a skirt.
Yeah, he becomes Parasite Eve. It just happens. I went, wow, of all the things I expected, this was none of them.
He says he'll start Act 2 now, or rather end Act 2. Then he like starts shooting purple goo everywhere.
That is accurate. He shoots his goo everywhere.
Yeah, he just does that. Is it Reishi?
I don't know.
It's great.
It's probably
Reishi.
Ishida then tells them, I don't know what that is, but I know we don't want to touch it. And then it touches some of them and grows into duplicates of them. They have weird eye makeup, but are otherwise exact copies. Sae Sapporo says they have identical abilities, and he says, oh, but I did you a favor and made it so the floor is no longer lava, so you can use your abilities again. They scrap a little bit with the clones, and then we cut back to Ichigo fighting Noitora, and Noitora hits Ichigo and then goes on a weird rant about how battles start.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
That was really, really weird.
It's like number 450 of some guy just talking at Ichigo about his bizarre meathead philosophy while Ichigo doesn't internalize any of it at all.
It's okay. I don't think they have fully internalized it either.
No, Ichigo just keeps running into different senators from Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, and all of their speeches don't even begin to make sense.
I wish I could remember what you're talking about, but all I hear when Kanamori Face opens his dumb mouth is, "Look at my weapon. It's the stupidest weapon in this show."
It's okay, though. It's shaped like an 8.
Then he's like, I watched you fight Grimjaw, so I know your every move. And then we cut back to Saeporo. Ishida and Clone Ishida are doing the 1200 a second shit at each other and just achieving nothing.
This is such a fucking clown show.
Pesce throws a little fit about there being 2 Pesces, meaning all the girls will switch over to the new Pesce. Renji yells at them to stop doing shtick and like clashes with his own duplicate. Pesce and Dodonchaka say they'll have to start fighting, but then Dodonchaka gets splattered with more goo, so now there's 4 Dodonchaka, and then Ishida makes this face like, oh, this is really not fucking going well at all. And we cut back to Ichigo and Noitora. Ichigo gets a little worked up, and Orihime wants to help, but Tesla is like, Aizen told me not to destroy the thing that gives you your powers unless you fuck around, and then you'll have to find out, so fucking don't. Just sit still, lady. Orihime worries about Nell, and Tesla figures out there was somebody else and blows up the wall Nell was behind, and she rolls around wailing like a small little baby. Noitora notices her and seems to know who she is, and he talks to her and says that she became all shabby and helpless and asks if her mask being cracked hurts, and Ichigo's like, what the fuck? How the fuck do you know this baby? But before we can cut back, we can find out, we cut back to the comedy fight, and Dodonchaka is running from his duplicates towards Ishida begging for help. Ishida avoids him and he complains about how, and Dodonchaka's like, I just want to be loved. And then Ishida screams at him more. There's like fucking 20 of him now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dodonchaka then says, we don't have time for this. We have to find Nell, because if she gets too deep into Last Note, just something will happen. We cut back to Noitora, and he's like, it's funny you've been dragging this kid around not knowing who she is, because she's actually Nelliel to Odelschwank, a former Espada.
Fucking what a name!
I literally just started chanting, Odel Schwank in my TV.
What's the name of that fucking popcorn? Like the one with the dude with the bow tie on the front? Because that's all I could think of. Redenbach?
Orville Reckenbacher?
Yeah, Reckenbacher. I was like, oh shit, I love that popcorn as I point at the screen.
I'd buy that Brandon crossover.
In fact, the next episode when the narration calls him Grimgau Juggerjack, I'm like, Pop-Tart Smucker Snack. That's my favorite art card. What I'm saying is this broke me. The Nell reveal broke me.
Illustrated Guide to Soul Reapers, not golden.
Golden.
It's so over.
It's so over.
Unohana is hosting a flower arranging ceremony. Isane Rangiku, Isane is the tall white-haired lady who is Unohana's lieutenant. Isane, Rangiku, and Renji are there. Renji's like, why am I even here? I'm not... This isn't...
How'd I get roped into this?
Then Yachiru appears and asks for snacks, and Unohana feeds her the flower arrangement. Then she teleports away, and Renji is flabbergasted. Episode 192, Noitora mocks Ichigo for trusting Nell. Nell doesn't remember anything. Noitora mocks her for forgetting. We get a flashback of all the Nell scenes before. Now I gotta use the animal.
Mm-hmm.
Nell insists she just didn't want to part with Ichigo and his friends because she likes him, but Noitora continues trying to browbeat this child and accuse her of espionage. Then Nell begs Ichigo to believe her, and Noitora gets annoyed and tries to stomp her, but Ichigo knocks him away and tells him to fuck off, and he's like, even if she was a spy, I wouldn't care, because I'm a dipshit shonen protagonist, yeah! Anyway, Noitora starts to beat his ass. While beating his ass, Noitora mocks Nell for losing her memory and says it makes sense because he split her head open pretty good back in the day. Ichigo's like, what the fuck you did? And then Noitora's like, yeah, I split her real good. It was man, there was blood and it was bone and it was so sick. And then Ichigo like rushes him and clashes, and Nell gets blown away, and Orihime can't do anything because she's being held by her upper arm. That's like the kryptonite for most women in shonen series, apparently.
Tesla's just so powerful. You just can't possibly beat him.
Noitora tells Ichigo, bro, you can't even cut me. What the fuck you gonna do? And then slaps him around a little bit. You might as well call this dude a pit bull because he keeps going for the baby.
Oh.
he keeps fucking bringing up, yeah, I broke her skull, I broke her skull, I broke her skull, I broke her skull. We needed a couple more episodes of filler, but the Bount arc tanked the ratings so bad they never actually recovered.
Oof.
Anyway, Nortora is like, gets Ichigo on the ground and is gonna break his arm, and Nell yells, and then there's a big pink, like a pink Super Sentai transformation cloud. But we don't get to see what happens with that yet. We cut back to the Saeporo fight, and Pesce and Dodonchaka sense powerful energy, and they say it belongs to Master Nell, and we cut back and some goofy-ass chorus music plays, and Nell has become an adult.
Oh my god.
She did not get additional clothing, but luckily the garbage bag became a two-piece.
I will now reveal my secret. The first time she showed up in Bleach, I'm like, I need to know how to spell this character's name. Looked it up, and the first image that came up was adult Nell, and I go, excuse me?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's what you get.
I learned an important lesson on that day that I will forget and have to relearn at some point.
I remember after I dropped the Bleach manga, I thought, I don't know, should I go back? Should I keep going? And then I just started seeing adult Nell show up everywhere. I'm like, maybe not.
Anyway, she teleports around using Sonido and grabs Ichigo from Noitora, and he gets all pissed. Nell is all stoic and quiet, and Ichigo's like, is it really you? And she says it is really her. She explains she was able to recover from this because Ichigo was always protecting her, so now she'll thank Ichigo by beating Noitora. And she says not to worry because she'll end it in a flash, and her shirt blows up, like, with wind. Come on, Kubo, to reveal the real 3 on her back.
The fact that I was surprised by this. I had to come to grips with this. I'm like, oh, she's got a 3 on her back. Why didn't I know that? I've seen so much art of this character. Oh, none of it is from the back. We all know why.
Yeah. Nell and Noitora start to fight, and she actually successfully cuts him and knocks him around a bit. She punks him a bunch of times, and he shoots a big Saro at her, but guess what she did to the last Saro that got shot at her? She fucking eats it and spits it back at him like she did as a baby. And even Ishida and Renji were able to feel that, but Pesce runs shtick instead of explaining anything. Tesla runs and freaks out, drops Orihime and freaks out and runs because that seemed to like blow his shit up. Then Nell turns around and turns back into like the child temperament and starts like crushing Ichigo in a hug despite all his injuries. And she's like, you're crushing me, please stop. But she will not stop. Noitora survived and explains it's been so long since Nell was in Espada. Here's where I'm like, fucking how?
Right? He says years. He says it has been years.
He does say that, and that's fucking insane.
That makes no sense.
Maybe it's hollow years.
Yeah, and unless we're going with the idea that time in Las Noches, not Las Noches, Hueco Mundo literally passes differently, Aizen got that fucking thing that let him make all of you like 6 months ago.
Right? It isn't even like, well, maybe it was they were the highest level of Arrancar before they became Arrancar, like the highest level of Hollow, like they did with Grimjow. They were Arrancar already because they are numbers.
Yeah, like it's just
Kubo?
Ding!
This is a bit bigger than a ding. That drove me fucking... I'm like, wait, what? So what's the story of events? What?
Don't worry about it.
I decided that was the moment. That was the moment I'm never going to worry about it. I'm like, okay, this is what Kubo's writing. All right, that's fucking whatever.
It will now have always been this way.
Anyway, he says it doesn't matter because it's been so long. Illustrated Guide to Soul Reapers, not golden. Byakuya is giving a calligraphy class. Renji, Unohana, and Ukitake are there. Renji once again wonders why he's there. Byakuya calls a break, and Yachiru shows up here too, asking for a snack, and Byakuya tries to give her a weird cookie shaped like some bizarre mascot. She doesn't like it and leaves, and Renji says, "Great strategy, Captain," and then he just kind of stares at Renji, and then the scene just sort of ends.
Yeah, there was a shot at the end of because we're on 192. That was the end of 192, right? There's that shot of fucking. He's like, "Oh, you're not going to win easily because the numbers changed." And he's got a 5, even though his weapon's shaped like an 8. And I got mad. I was like, "Okay, the first number thing was cool, but I'm being driven insane by this moment. Why to say 8 and his number's 5? This will be important."
Episode 193. Renji is fighting Renji. Renji says, I don't look that ugly, and they keep attacking each other. Renji splatters his clone. Ishida is shooting a million arrows at himself. The clone can't shoot as many arrows and gets disintegrated. Unfortunately, splattering the clones makes them into more clones. So now there's clones of Renjis and Ishidas everywhere, and it must smell like a job fair in there. Dodonchaka tries to attack Renji, and Renji screams at him for being so stupid he can't tell the difference. Then Pesce actually attacks Renji, and Pesce starts stomping on him. Ishida gets pissed and says, I figured out the differences, at least for the hollows, other than the eyes. Dodonchaka doesn't have his back spots, and Dodonchaka is like, they're polka dots. And Pesce's clones all wear pants.
I still think this is great.
And nobody noticed that all of Pesce's clones wore pants. I went back and checked prior episodes, and yes, they do wear pants in those.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I noticed immediately. It was like, oh, yeah, this is one of the best jokes in the show.
This is pretty great.
I'm actually shocked that they did not have that they had pants before they drew attention to them having.
It is the best and only good thing in this fight.
True.
Yes.
Renji says Sayaporo must be stupid, and then Sayaporo gets indignant and says, no, Pesce and Dodonchaka look like shit, so I had to make adjustments so they'd look better. Renji says that's still stupid, and Dodonchaka keeps getting upset that people won't call his spots polka dots. They keep fighting, and the clones keep duplicating, and Renji tells Ishida that he has an idea. Then Renji Bankais, and so do all the clones, and the building explodes because like 40 Renjis did Bankais at once.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, this might be his best idea.
Renji climbs out of the rubble and gloats that he knew they'd do that, and Ishida says, you're as stupid as Ichigo. And then Renji's like, oh, come on, Ishida, that almost doesn't sound like a compliment. And he says, it's not, I'm insulting you. Sayaporo comes out of the rubble wrapped in his wings like fucking do not be afraid ass fucking biblical angel. And he snaps his fingers and all the clones pop, and he's like, oh, fucking I'll fight, okay? I'll fight. I'm so fucking tired of this. Pesce and Dodonchaka climb out of the rubble and run some shtick. Ishida and Renji try to attack Sayaporo, but his weird throne turns into two like buff dudes and block them.
Yeah, that was weird.
Then his weird fleshy wings like extend and get behind Ishida and like eat him with like a flesh curtain. And then it spits him out and makes an Ishida voodoo doll. They realize it's a voodoo doll and freak out when he rips it in half, but it does not kill Ishida. It just lets him get it a bunch of like organ voodoo dolls inside them, and destroying those does hurt Ishida.
What the fuck is this power set? I told you guys, Balrog has lots and lots of powers.
Yeah, this is the exact moment Bleach becomes like, I don't know, to make the powers weirder. Just keep going weirder.
I feel like this is the only dude that has a weird power. I feel like everybody else is pretty fucking straightforward.
There are some weird ones later.
But he crushes the stomach, and Ishida falls over after coughing out a bunch of saliva that was definitely blood in the manga. Renji attacks, but just gets flesh curtained also instantly. What a fuck. Come on, man.
Right.
Come on. We cut back to Nell and Noitora and redo the end of the last episode a little, and Noitora says she pisses him off because other than the fact she's wearing a garbage bag now, she hasn't changed at all, and we see what she looked like when she was in Espada. Then the episode ends. I guess next time's a flashback. Those are always great episodes in Bleach, right? Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. I mean, especially flashbacks that could take place chronologically somewhere.
The Arankar Encyclopedia. Gin will explain Sayaporo's resurrection. He can make clones and voodoo dolls. Sayaporo descends from like a rose-covered swing and says that Gin should allow him to become a regular on the show, and Gin says, no.
Dismissed.
Episode 194. Dodonchaka crawls out of some rubble and digs Pesce out, except Dodonchaka can't actually manage to dig him out. Pesce complains, and Dodonchaka literally, in both the sub and the dub, he says the same thing, which is, oh, don't worry about it. The only thing to see out here is Sayaporo beating up Renji and Ishida. And then they have a conversation about how Sayaporo's weird flesh wings look like udon noodles.
Yeah.
Then Dodonchaka manages to pull Pesce out, and Pesce talks about Master Nell, and we cut back to that. Ichigo is trying to haul his battered carcass up to go help, and then Tesla kicks him over and grabs Orihime again. He then gives this bizarre speech about how Nell is a rock that Noitora must cut. I don't know. People sure like to say shit in this series.
They sure do.
Look, he's a simp.
We cut into a flashback of Noitora and Nell fighting in the past and her washing him, and his dumb sword is only half as dumb because it's literally, it doesn't have the like revert Like, it's only one crescent at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Nell tries to leave, but Noitora's like, no, you get over here and kill me, you stupid bitch. This is a perfectly good opportunity to get blood on your hand. But she says no, and she's like, when we became Arankar, we regained the sense of reason we lost when we became hollows, and beings with reason need reasons to fight. Also, you're a little bitch, so I'm not going to do what you say. Then we see that Noitora is only a spot at 8 at this point.
It all makes sense.
Nell says he's just a dumb meathead, so bye. And then Noitora mauls and seethes, and Tesla tries to talk to him, but he throws a temper tantrum over being weaker than a girl. He basically just goes on a misogynistic rant.
Right? I'm like, oh, you have been promoted to dripless Wu Fei Chang. Congratulations.
That's rough.
That is fucking Jesus, dude.
The whole leading up to this, I was like, what was his thing? Oh, it's just being misogynist. I thought there was anything else going on.
Yeah, I was like, usually this is the subtext of the series, not the text of a character.
Yep. We cut back to the present, and they keep fighting, and Noitora asks her how it feels that she's about to be killed by someone she called a beast. We flash back to Nell looking for Pesce and Badonkadonk. She runs into Noitora again, and he beat them up and tore off their masks, and we see they have human faces under their masks. Noitora says, well, now we have a reason to fight. And Nell's like, no, we're not. I'm still not going to kill you. She does beat his ass a little bit, though. But he uses some bullshit to, like, teleport behind her and smash her mask. And then he drags her out of Las Noches to dump her body. And Saeporo shows up and basically, like, I gave you the cheat you used to win, you cheating little bitch. And then Noitora, like, throws her body off the roof and is like, by the time you heal, I'll be stronger than you for real, in a way that just seems like coping.
Yes. I was a little disappointed in this actually showing what happened, because when he described it beforehand, it made it sound almost like, yeah, he just snuck up behind her and hit her in the back of the head.
Uh-huh.
In a random hallway, like when they weren't even trying to fight, which would have been way funnier.
It's way funnier, and it's also actually more admirable than his real victory, which relied on that other guy,
right? He somehow is even more pathetic. Yep.
Nell, like, melts into a child, and Saeporo explains her damaged mask leaked spiritual pressure and turned her into a kid. And then Pesce and Badonkadonk talk about how Master Nelliel is dead, so now she's just Nell, a kid they have to protect. We check in on Rinji, who is still standing despite having multiple organs squashed. Then Saeporo squashes Rinji's Achilles tendon and he just falls down. He's gonna do more, but Pesce spits infinite slick on him and then steals the Rinji doll, and then Badonkadonk spits Bawa Bawa out of his mouth at him. Pesce explains that Badonkadonk houses combat bugs in his body, and they hid all their abilities from her so her memory wouldn't return because she hated fighting and they were happy that she was freed from the cycle of fighting because she no longer had to be in Espada. But now that they can sense Nell fighting, they have to fight too, and Pesce rides Bawa Bawa at Saeporo. And we cut back to Nell and Noitora, and Nell says she'll have to use her release, but we don't get the full command. The episode ends. Illustrated Guide to Soul Reapers, not golden.
Golden.
Isane tries to enter Hitsugai's office, but Rangiku tackles him. Hitsugai is sleeping because he thinks it'll make him grow taller. And then we see like a height comparison between Isane, Hitsugai, and Rangiku, and she's like, I'm gonna stop sleeping, because she's 6'1" and apparently still getting taller. That's it.
Great. We made it through. That seemed really short. I wonder why.
Yeah, it's a real mystery.
Yeah, we'll never figure this out. All right, let's do our best segment on the show, the best dressed. And luckily, we have some stuff this time. It's not completely barren. We had a new intro. We had stuff. We got to see new transformations and new time periods. So, Dr. Egro, who was the best dressed?
Oh, I've got this coming right at you. The man, the legend, the king is back. Ikkaku, tight t-shirt, pink polka dots.
Fuck! God damn it! Fuck!
Look at him, wearing the shirt and the smile. It's a match set. Goes on forever.
Incredible.
Fuck. It's over.
I guess I'll go. I'm just going to choose the easy one.
Yeah?
Nell Espada outfit. It's pretty good. She looks really cozy. She's like got a big sweater looking thing. Dan, who do you think is the best dressed?
Well, I was going to say Nell when she's in the two-piece outfit made by the like her becoming an adult, but that seems weird. I feel like that might conflict with some rule set I'm unaware of.
It's a different outfit.
Yeah, but it's usually
The garbage bag.
who's best dressed. It's not when's best dressed. Look, here's my logic, though, okay?
Okay.
Normally, mobile games give in to the basest instincts. And obviously, if the face of the new Bleach pseudo-real game, not really, mobile game, is Nelliel, then she must have the face that can send 1 million ships into Raid Shadow Legends territory. Adult Nell has revealed herself. She must be the strongest and thus the best dressed.
All right. That checks out. Chris, what do you think?
I'm gonna go with Renji in the credits with his tacky fucking shirt.
Weird, you didn't just have this image to pick that guy on the right and got robbed immediately by some other asshole?
Using the whole animal.
No, that didn't happen.
You can't prove it. Would you call his a winning smile?
No.
Sort of an awkward grimace.
Would you come anywhere near Renji with the word win?
That just sounds dangerous.
Also, no.
He would just snap that dub in two and make it 2 L's.
Poor Renji.
Poor Renji.
You know, if he were one of the random background lieutenants that we just didn't hang out with much, he'd be so cool.
It's true. He would
But
do
we
a
keep
neat
bringing
thing.
him to the big boy fights.
Okay, Worf, fight the new alien.
Surprised no one picked Pesce with pants.
I was gonna, if you disallowed Nelliel as an adult as she reveals herself. I was actually gonna say Pesce with pants.
I almost picked Wu Fei Chang in that Arankar outfit he was wearing, but I figured that might be too weird of a bit to bring up at this point.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, Dan. How excited are you to keep watching Bleach? Remember, this is on a scale of 1 to 10.
Well, I have to trust that they won't keep showing 4x3 footage instead of animating new things. They already hit me with all 3 forms, the holy trinity of 4x3 video on YouTube in widescreen, the blank, the blur, and the holy terrible looking original art.
They didn't have it play different parts of the video in the border, though. You know, like fakely expanded out by just having
Zooming and blurring.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was too hard. They had to do a shitty fucking vignette. Like a vignette fade that didn't look right. And I even bring it up, a lot of the 4x3 footage in the first episode literally had like a video problem at the bottom of the frame where it was just genuinely fucked up. God, so amateurish. Anyways, knowing that it can't happen again, right? I'm gonna have to say I'm excited. I'm excited for adult adventures with Nell because I have to be, because just like countless bums out there, there's no way I'm getting the kid back. That's just gone now, and I have to move on with my life. I hope we have some great adventures. I'm gonna give it a 6. I'm gonna give it a 6.
All right. I get it. We didn't talk about it during the episode. I was really upset at how badly animated looking all the Nell fights were. Like, they just look hideous.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, come on, this is a big reveal of a character who had a turn here that's really interesting, or supposed to be interesting at least. At least sell it with good animation. All right. Chris, did you bring any trivia?
Yes. According to Kubo, adult Nelliel has the largest breasts of any character. Is this true or false? Dan?
True.
Bob?
False.
Aggro?
I don't believe that Kubo would accept an upper bounding limit like that, so I'm going to say false.
No, it's true.
Yes. I knew it.
Huh.
I mean, it's power scaling, right?
She has the mightiest tits, and then we cut to Aizen with bigger tits.
Oh my god!
Is this an illusion?
Was this his tits? And he's flexing to the beat.
God damn.
All right. Now we got to score this thing on our tightness scale, which is patent pending. Never got approved.
It probably never will be.
Right? It's 0 to 25, though. Chris, how tight was this?
We're back in canon content, but like only sort of because there was so much recap. I'm going to give it like a 15.
Yeah, I did have a serious debuff with that. Dan, what do you think?
Not every episode of Chugging Bleach has me watch Bleach with literal video problems. Like, this isn't you drew a thing bad. This is, dude, there's a coffee stain on the anime. We can't air this. How did you even do that? Between that and the fact so much of it was recap and the fact I lost my kid in the divorce, it's combating some things that should be really neat. I cracked up really fucking bad at Nelliel's full name. I cracked up really bad at El Estamago because he pulled out the stomach and said that, and I fucking lost it. But man, 16.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you. There's just too much good and bad. Like, I do like the Nell stuff, though. All of that, like, when it happened, it's just infuriating. And it looked bad, and there was a ton of recap. It's hard to give many buffs to this, but I do really like Peche Pants. So I'm gonna have to have it sit at 15. Dr. Aggro?
Exploding back onto the scene into canon territory with the worst Arankar so far. By weight, like 50% recap. The Sapporo fight becoming so bad, I just mentally checked out and was glad when we cut back to the hideous adult Nell fight segments. I'm so glad I'm back in Hueco Mundo. 8.
Man, I actually have memories of, like, when we came back from filler, it was like incredible. But then I remembered, that's not this time, that's next time. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no is indeed the emotion running over these episodes. There should be things that are really great, but oh no.
Yeah, it's really sad. Like, this Nell stuff should have been like a 25.
And they should have found a way to work in Dark Rukia.
Right? I fucking miss Dark Rukia.
Absolutely.
She was the coolest. I'm gonna marry her. It's okay, Chris. You don't need to be jealous of our love.
Maybe we'll get Dark Nell.
No. I don't need that. No one needs that. It's bad enough we lost the kid.
Internet, do we need Dark Nell?
Oh, God.
No.
This is one of those calls to action, right? Time to fill the comment section with links to art. No. Me looking at the filter. Just Wojak. Oh, look at all these fucking hyperlinks that got filtered. I don't want to prove these.
There actually is a Dark Nell in Bleach Brave Souls, but I can't link the art until the next episode because it spoils her resurrection.
No.
My God.
All right, that's enough.
That's enough.
That's all the Bleach this month. Come back next month. We're watching another 5 episodes like normal.
Yeah.
No more weird stuff.
No more weird stuff, he says. Setting you up to watch another episode of Chugging Bleach. Is that it?
Yeah, get out of here.
I'm sorry. I'll leave. Okay, Bob, this is where you cut in the AOL Instant Messenger door closing sound.
Let me see if I can find it.
Christ. How long and beleaguered is this ending going to be?
Hey, before you down that jug of bleach, how about you head on over to patreon.com/gbpodcast. You can get the next episode of Chugging Bleach early and help support us doing insane 7-year-long endeavors like watching all of Bleach. We also do many other shows that you can get extras for, and if you ascend to Vastopod Lourdes, you'll even get credit for it on Big Think Dimension, our weekly gaming podcast. If not, that's fine. We'll see you next time you're thirsty for some bleach. The executive producers for this GigaBoots video are
Esme, Ely Broyles, Spaceman Spiff, Red Blaze 27, Brendan O'Sullivan, A Reminder for Symphony of War, Cooper Tank, Very Best Plot, Iconic Bane, and Rado. Thank you very much to our executive producers. And also these guys. If you want to become an executive producer or normal patron, head on over to patreon.com/gigaboots today.